What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the fantastic model, or the FansToys Margh, or their version of a Masterpiece Scale Ultra Magnus. I got this one from Nick the Toy Guy. Thanks for sending this out for a review. And I've been excited for this figure for a while just because it's one of the first Masterpiece Scale Ultra Magnuses that forms with armor. So I thought that's a pretty cool concept. It does look really nice here right out of the box. There are some things you have to do out of the package. I did show it in the unboxing, but I'll show it again here. First of all, the hands will be straight, so you just want to curl them up so it doesn't look so goofy. And next you can come to the back here, and we can open up the hip skirts all the way around. Get the arms out to the side, and we're going to open up the legs. And on the bottom here, we're going to open up this panel, just untab it from here. That'll allow you to take this whole piece here, white piece, and it's pretty tight, so if you have trouble getting this out of here, I recommend you just grab a spudger and pop this piece out. Then you're going to straighten up this right here, so straighten that up so it's all the way forward. Leave this open. This is going to collapse down on this piece right here, and then this will collapse down and sit straight like this. This will tab into the bottom of this. Bring this all the way back and tab that in. And then we can bring the legs back down, close that back up, close this back up, straighten up his legs. And now we've got his legs configured properly. So it should look something like that. And now we can take care of the shoulder missiles, because what is Ultra Magnus without those? So here they are. They're actually quite beautiful looking. Metallic red with that same white paint. These actually come out. I just want to show you that. They're actually missiles in there. Thought that was cool. So you can put that back in. So in vehicle mode or whatever, he can actually fire his missiles. They are keyed, so you do have to put it in a certain direction. You can't rotate it once you put it on there. There you go. You can get it on like that. And then we'll get the other one here. And you want it with the fin facing upwards here. And now we're ready for action with Margh. And it really does look good. Let's get in close so you can see some of the paint detail. We've got metallic blue eyes. Metallic blue all throughout the body. The red is more of a flat red. Not a flat red, but less of a metallic and more of like a brick red. But there's a slight bit of fleck in that red too. And then the white is a pearlescent. It's got a little bit of metallic, but less than most of the other figures, like the painted version of Phoenix. It does really look good. Here's the back. He's got that traditional looking backpack, a little bit of silver paint right there. Translucent red, all of that looks nice. Overall, really good looking figure. You do have the full wheels here on the side instead of the real wheels. And later I will bring in the X-Transbots version, but that actually has the real wheels here on the side. So this is interesting that they actually have it. Let's go over the articulation on this guy. The head is on a rotating swivel, so it gets down to there. Important for a big character like this to be able to look down. Up to there, and rotates around. No side to side on that. The shoulder can rotate around on a ratchet joint. Out to the side on a single ratchet, it collides there, so you can't get it past there. But then this has its own ratchet, so you get a couple clicks out of that, so you can get the shoulder all the way up to there. This is stationary. Like I showed you earlier, you can remove the missile. You have a single jointed elbow, but it bends well past 90 degrees, almost all the way, so that's works very well. Rotation at the wrist. You have in and out movement at the wrist, which is on a ball joint. The fingers are individually articulated, and they have a splay motion, so you can splay them out. It doesn't go all the way out, but it does splay out a little bit. And then the thumb is on a ball joint and 2 hinges. So some really nice, well done hands here. he can get some good poses out of those. And I gotcha. Anyway, you have a waist rotation, but you do have to lift it up. So you have to basically unpeg it from in here. It's a little tight. There you go. So once you pull it up, then you can rotate it. It's actually on a ratchet. So if you lift it up a little bit more, you can get it all the way around. The ab crunch can get down to there. I guess if we lift it up a little bit more, we can get a little bit further. Back to there. I feel like they were considering not even doing an ab crunch, but luckily they did do it. So back to there. So you can get some angles on it. And if you want to lock it back in, you just push it down, backward and down into those pegs. For the legs, I mentioned earlier, there's hip skirts on all three sides. You can lift up these as well. Legs will kick up to there. It is a ratchet, but it's a soft ratchet. Ratchets up to there. Back to there. It does hold the weight. It's very heavy down here. There's a lot of die cast material. Out to the side on friction, but that holds just fine. Rotation of the thigh around a universal. Double jointed knee. If you bend the first joint of the knee, it's sculpted detail and it actually looks nice. I think it looks nice. But as soon as you get the second joint in the knee, it starts to look a little strange. So just be aware of that. I mean, I don't know how many people are going to be posing it with the knee all the way up, but you do have a little gap there once you use the second joint. But if you're just using the first joint, I think it's fine. All right, let's close all that up. Coming down the foot, you have tilt all the way out to there. Don't have anything forward and backward, just out to the side. All right, let's take a look at the accessories he comes with, and there's quite a bit of cool stuff here. We get his blaster done in this teal with the green and black stripes. Looks pretty cool. You can fold down this handle, just grab right here. And then depending on which hand you're putting in, if you're putting it on this side, fold it this way. This tab on the end, and you can peg that into his hand. Close this up, and that's a good looking gun. It does seem like it's a little bit high in the fingers, but overall looks good. We also get some replacement parts here. So you can replace this chest. We can open up these doors. And while we're here, might as well take a look at the matrix chambers. So open this up. To open up these doors, I recommend you just push right here, and that makes it easy to open it up. Going back though, just realize there's a tab, so you want to close them together when you're going back. If we can open these up, and in here, of course, there's a matrix chamber door. We can use a spudger or something to open it up. And in here we have a nice die-cast matrix. It reminds me a lot of the one we got with MP10. You got chrome, gold chrome, translucent blue. Good looking matrix there. So let's set that back in there. We can close this up. Close this up. Make sure you get those tabbed back together. And then we can replace these doors. So if you don't like the translucent glass, you want something more cartoon accurate, you can use this painted piece. I think it's cool that they included this. So this just plugs right in. There's 3 pegs that peg in right here. It's nice and simple. It's a good way to do it. Good tolerance on it too. And then we can close this up, tab that back in right there, close this up, and that's cool. I love that they gave you the option. All right, we also get some alternate faces and a head, but first let's take a look at this one. Very beautiful sculpt on the head there. To swap it out, we're going to slide forward on the head. You can actually take the face off separately, but I'm just going to take it off. And then slide forward on this crest. I actually dropped the face, but that's what it looks like. And you can replace this. So go ahead and pop that off. And it's just on pegs, so just slide it forward. You get 5 faces, replacement faces, and 5 replacement eyes. And they're on 2 runners, so you have to break them off the runners. And I actually did them all at once. I broke off all of them off the runners. And then I was like, oh crap, I don't know which eyes go with which head because they're different. The faces, some of the faces have slightly different shape. Well, FansToys thought of that. And if you look right here, it's very hard to show you on camera, but right in the nose area on the inside, there's a number. And there's a corresponding number on the top of the eyes. And again, very hard to show you on camera. It's very small. But right there, there's a number. So this is number 1, and this is number 1 eyes. So that's how you know which one goes with which if you ever screw it up or you took them all off. Once you put them on, they're not going anywhere. They stay on there. I just wanted to mention that. So you take the replacement face. So here's the original. Here's the replacement. I don't know. These look extremely similar. Not much difference, but take this, tab it back in, tab this back in, and there you go with the new face. Oh, I don't have it quite right. There we go. And then slide the head back on. And in my opinion, that one looks very, very close. There he is with the happy face. There he is with the concerned face. There he is with the kind of a grimacing, yelling face. Pretty extreme. I think this one needed a little bit of black paint inside. And there he is, the most extreme yelling face where he can't deal with it right now. All really good looking. I think this is probably one of my favorites. We also get a swap out head, which is really beautifully done. It's IDW style, I think. So half armored, half unarmored. Beautifully painted. So to swap this out, just pull forward on the head and then put this one back on. And there you go. That is very, very creative. I love that. And for a quick size comparison, there it is next to the Magic Square version of Optimus Prime. And it fits in nicely with the Masterpiece scale. Nice, tall robot mode. And here's a comparison I think everybody wants to see next to the X-Transbots version of Ultra Magnus. And obviously different approaches, but not only that, the sculpt is very different on these two. Just the overall proportions. Now, I don't want to spend too much time here because we're going to do a full comparison. But it is safe to say that they definitely have a different look to them, and the transformation is very, very different. And there they are all together, the movie crew from FansToys. Very satisfying to have these all together. Finally, we have the FansToys Blaster, Springer, Blur, Cup, Hot Rod, Perceptor, the tapes, and finally Ultra Magnus. They really do look good together. Now we're blatantly missing a version of Rodimus Prime. I have my custom DX9 version here, but until we get that, I'll be using that. But it really is nice to see them all together. All right, now let's get this guy transformed into his core robot mode. Now, I was asked the question before the review, can I do it straight from this to vehicle mode? It doesn't really make a lot of sense to do that because you have to kind of untransform the core robot anyways. So you might as well go to that mode. But you could do it if you wanted to. Maybe I'll make a separate video on that. But first, go ahead and remove the shoulder missiles. Set those aside. And we'll start on the upper body here. So come to the back. And you're going to unpeg these from here. It might help to have a spudger handy for this because there are some parts that are a little tougher to get in. But you're going to fold that back out. Same on this side. Unpeg that. That's actually holding in this panel here. Then we're going to undo this. So there's 2 pegs. There's one right here on the inside. And there's 2 up here. So you got to kind of undo all of them. It's a little tricky. So you're going to pull up off of that. And then you got to pull back. And that's why I said it helps to have a spudger handy because you can use one to hold it while you're pulling. Pull this all the way back, and when it's separated, there we go. And you'll see that it untabbed there. All right, so we'll do the same thing on this side. I'll show it again just because it's a little tricky. So pull it off of this tab right here and pull it back. And once you do that, this whole panel will become loose. So you can lift this up. Open up this head panel right here. And then open up this. And we're going to lift up on the ab crunch so that we unpeg these two red pegs. Make sure you do that. And then slide forward. And that whole section will come off. And we're going to set this aside for now. We're not going to do anything with it until later when we're going to make the trailer. But you do have a part of Ultra Magnus that you could do a scene with. You know, you could have him being pulled apart or whatever. But let's set that aside. All right, so now we're left with this. We can get rid of the hip skirts. So lift this up, open these out. This is tabbed in under here. Again, I recommend the spudger to separate. These are actually tabbed in down here. Oh, and we have to unpeg from down here as well. And then the whole thing should separate. And we can just kind of accordion this up and set this aside for now. All right, now we're down to this, we're getting closer. So for the legs, we're going to come to the inside here. You can just open this up, give yourself a little room. And we're going to come to the back here. This is pegged right here on the inside. So we're going to separate that and then pull it back. And that not only unpegs it from the inside, but also unpegs it here and here. Once you do that, you can open up this panel, which is tabbed in right here. And once you do that, you can pull the whole leg out and slide it out gently. And that's how it comes. All right. Put these aside for now. You can just kind of close it up and set these aside. All right, let's get working on this guy. And leave this accordion up because we have work to do underneath. But you can see the legs are pretty much ready. You can just pull these back. And you don't really need to do a lot there. You do need to do a little bit down here. So open up this crotch panel. Open up this piece. This is very tight, by the way. We're going to accordion this back, how it came in the box, actually. And then this comes back down. Straighten up the legs. Bring up these hip skirts. And your legs are pretty much ready. So that's the nice part. Hard part is all of this. And I mentioned earlier, you can't really go straight to vehicle mode because we have to undo some things here, unfortunately. So obviously this is mostly in robot mode right now. But either way, we have to undo some stuff. So bring this down. This is tabbed in right here and here. Bring this down a little bit so you can see. Come to the front. We're going to open up these doors. And you can open up all the way to give yourself some room. We're going to pull forward on this, which is going to release this ab section from the rest. So as you release it, it comes apart like that. Okay. And that gives you some room to work. Bring this down for a second. And we need to get these arms out of here. So the arms are going to pull out. They're actually clipped in on the inside of this panel right here. You can see there's a little notch. So you got to get that out of that notch. It's kind of tricky, honestly. I don't love how it works. But you're going to take this arm out of here. You can lift this up. Take this arm out of here and get this folded out. All the way out like this. All right. And then same on the other side. We want to get that arm. Remember the little clip under in there. We want to get this folded all the way to the outside. All right. We can lift up the arms so they're angled up like this. And now we have access to some things so we can start working. Come to the inside. We're going to fold out these panels. So fold this out. Fold this down. And then open up this panel on the rear. Right here. And you're going to slide that out on this slider joint right here. All right, so slide that out. And sorry if I'm not showing things clearly. So you should end up like that. And we'll do the other side just so you can see. Fold that out, fold it down, slide it out so it sits on the inside of this, and then fold out that panel. So now you have the two back pieces there. All right, so bring this whole thing down. There's a peg right here on the bottom that's going to tab into here. So bring this forward, and that will peg in. You'll see these sides can come together. And this is what I was saying earlier. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to go to vehicle mode because you're already half into robot mode here. But I will try to make it a separate video. All right, before you push this in, let's take care of this head. So lift up the head, lift up this panel. This is going to slide back. This is going to feed through. And go like that. Rotate the head around. Come to the back here. This little panel here. You might need to make a little room. Fold that out. And then this can fold up and sit in there. Come to the front. We're going to collapse this down. It's going to peg in to the front of the abs. This is going to go back and sit in here. And this panel can just fold up and sit underneath. You can close up the chest. Bring these together. They tab together here in the middle. And let's see. There we go. So it should sit nice and flush on the front. On the back, we can bring this up. This is going to go up and under, so tuck it under that little clip. So it sits like that. This will flip up. There's two slots, two tabs right here. So line that all up. You'll have to fold this up so that it fits properly, but it's going to collapse and tab onto there. That'll fold down. Then we're going to collapse this ab crunch to just slide it down. And finally, we'll take care of the arms. So for the arms, we're going to open this up. And we'll open this up. Fold this panel over. And that's on a double hinge. Just make sure it clips down. We'll rotate the arm so it sits like that. We can slide it forward. Fold this down, tab it in. Fold this down, tab it in. Come to the bottom here. You can open this up. Open up the elbow. We can open up the hands on the bottom. Open that up. You can stick a finger here to open this. And then put that back down. Close up the hand. Close up that panel. Bring your shoulder down. Fold this smokestack to the front. Push up on this. Pull up on that. Be careful with this. It's a thin piece of plastic in a piece of die cast. If you feel a little more worried about it, just push it down a little bit. And that'll give it a little bit more strength. And you don't have to worry about it being so tall. But it is supposed to be all the way out for robot mode. Then we're going to rotate the hand forward. So that's what your arm should be looking like. So do the same thing on the other side. All right, a couple of final touches here. You're going to flip over the panels on the thighs so you get the stripes there. And on the toes, same thing. You're going to flip over the panel so you get the green on the front. On my copy, this one is a little bit tight, but it does flip over. All right, and there's the Margh core robot in robot mode. And you'll see I have it in kind of a weird pose. And that's because it's hard to balance him. You know, I took about 10-15 minutes just to study this after transforming it. And the way it's designed, it's got this slide out heel. So it was out, you know, by default, but you can push it in. It doesn't help pull it out, you know, no matter how you angle the foot. And I'm going to straighten him up just so I can show you you know, he leans back. And he doesn't have support back here. So the only way to kind of make it work is to crotch thrust it, you know, and have him basically leaning forward. You have the legs angled back, but leaning forward on the toes. And then he looks a little awkward. Now, the thighs are a little bit larger anyways, because they're the thighs for Ultra Magnus. They made it wider. I'm like 90% sure when they make the Optimus, if they do, assuming they do, it will be a thinner thigh. But they had to do that for this one just because it is the combined mode thigh as well. But I will say it is gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous. The paint on it looks great. We have that metallic blue on the head crest, metallic red for the eyes, metallic blue for that face mask. It got little lines in it. That looks really good. Metallic green paint for the lights here, 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 here. These hip skirts sometimes fold in on you, so just get those fixed up. Yellow over here. Gray paint here. More of that green down here. Really does look good. Here's the back. Yeah, it's a good looking body. I just wish it would balance better. It has fallen on me once. Nothing happened, but it definitely fell because of the balance issue. So I do recommend you kind of have him crotch thrusted and lean forward, because it doesn't look like it's going to fall forward, but it definitely will fall backwards. Let's go over the articulation. The head is on a rotating swivel, so it goes all the way up to there, just due to the way it's designed, down to there, and rotates around. Beautiful head sculpt. The ears don't rotate, so don't try to do that. Shoulders rotate around on this joint. There's a reverse butterfly just due to the transformation. You have a rotation here at the bicep. It's a ratchet joint, which surprised me. Continuing on, you have a single jointed elbow, but again, you get the full bend due to the sculpt. Rotation at the wrist, in and out movement at the wrist. These are different hands, so you get traditional articulation that we get on most figures from FansToys these days. The more rounded off figures, 3 pins at each finger, and then the thumb is on a ball joint and a pin. So you get that movement. That works very well. Going down the waist, you have a rotation here on a ratchet. You have an ab crunch. It's a double jointed ab crunch. It's ratcheted. So if you lift this up, you pull up on it, he can get forward bend. And now that we've gotten rid of the hip skirt piece that goes in there, there's nothing to tab it in. So that's why you can rotate it without lifting it up. Before we had to lift it up, if you remember. Coming to the hip skirts, they'll get out of the way. These are the inner hip skirts. This one is now bigger just because we unfolded it. But leg will kick up to there on a soft ratchet. It's the same ratchet as before. Back to there, out to the side. Same strength as before. Rotation at the thigh on a universal. Double jointed knee. Again, same joint as before, so nothing new to show there. Same hardware, everything. For the feet, you have ankle tilt. These are different feet, by the way. Out to there. Forward and backward. And this toe sometimes gets out of whack, so just fix that. But I really wish they had figured out something better for this. It definitely seems like it's off. It almost seems like maybe I have something mistransformed, but I went right off the instructions and off of the manual. I feel like that seems like a silly oversight from FansToys. All right, I do get some accessories. You get that same gun as before, but you're going to use a different handle. You're going to fold down on this side. You can see it's a different size handle. That'll fit into his hand. I did think it was kind of cool that they're able to reuse the same gun, and it's differently shaped enough that it looks different, so that's kind of neat. You also get this translucent axe, which you'd expect for an Optimus. You do have to do a little bit of transformation here. So open up this panel here. We're going to rotate the fist in. Hide that away. On this side, you have a little peg slot. This peg's in. I haven't seen a connection point like this from FansToys before, so this seems like something new. All right, that's a little better. It's okay, but it could stand to be a little bit tighter. But there you go. Now he's got a gun, and he's got his blaster. His axe. They do look good. All right, and for some quick size comparisons, there it is next to the KO MP44, the white version, and the Magic Square version of Optimus Prime. You can see it's a little bit taller than both of these. It is bigger. FansToys tends to be bigger in scale anyways. They tend to do their own scale, so it is a little bit bigger, but very close in terms of Masterpiece scale. All right, there's Margh in vehicle mode. And it does look beautiful, but what a pain to get here. So many tight panels, especially the first time you transform it. There's lots of things that kind of, want to get in your way. But once you get it here, it really is nice looking. You got a chrome grille, translucent lights with silver behind it. These lights, the panels here sometimes fall out. So just keep track of them now. Of course, I'm pulling on it. It's not coming out. But they have fallen out on me a couple of times, so just keep track of those. Translucent blue with the windshield wipers there. Silver for the rearview mirrors. Purple. Green for the fog lights up there. Nice chrome wheels with rubber tires. One of the tires, this one I think, is the one that doesn't spin freely. Doesn't seem to matter what I do. It just kind of gets stuck. The rest all seem to spin freely. It does roll on the wheels, but like I mentioned, that particular one seems to get stuck. Nice chrome for the smokestacks. Like I mentioned, be very careful with these. It's plastic into die-cast, and it feels semi-flimsy. You want them up all the way, but just be careful. Nice chrome here for the gas tanks. Here's the back. You do have the lights back here. That looks good. A little bit of gappage right here in between. But overall, very good looking truck mode. You can open the doors. I recommend using a spudger to get in here. Now there's nothing to go in there, but you can look in there. There's actually a little gap, so you maybe could squeeze something in there. But you can't open the doors on both sides, of course. Just for the look, if you wanted to. And for a quick comparison, there it is next to the Magic Square version of Optimus Prime. So you can see the size, about the same height, just a little bit taller, a little bit thinner in terms of the width of the cab. Length is a tiny bit longer, about the same, just a little bit more on these feet. All right, and there's the trailer ready for action. Does look nicely painted, and overall colors look good, but it does look a little kibbly just due to all the parts. I also think this could have been a better mounting system. It seems kind of like an afterthought. It's comes off very easily. But we're gonna attach this, so if you come to the bottom, you'll see there's a little peg there. So you can remove these stands now. You can lift up on this, rotate, and then close it back down. Lift up, rotate, close back down. And now it looks like this. Bring in your cab. There's a little slot right there on the back. So you're going to peg it into there. And it does peg in securely. And you can pull it, rolls nicely. But there's not much turning radius. It really kind of collides with everything as you put it in there. So again, it works. It just feels a little incomplete, I guess we'll say. We can store the gun here, so intent, now in the book, it has like this sitting on top. That's pretty loose. I don't know why you would put it like that. I think the best configuration, the tightest configuration, is having it either like this or like this. I think this fits the best. And it kind of sits flush. So I don't know, maybe the book is wrong, but that seems to be the best fit as far as I can tell. All right, for a size comparison, there it is next to the Takara Tomy Masterpiece version of Ultra Magnus. And you can see it actually sits taller. I was kind of surprised, the Takara one. The cabs are similar. The FansToys is a little bit longer, about the same height, about the same width. Maybe this is a little bit thinner. But this trailer is definitely longer, much longer than the Takara one, about 1 inch longer on the back. I do think the cab on the FansToys looks better just due to the paint and the overall chrome. But overall, I think this vehicle mode looks better. So, final recommendations on the Fantastic Model or FansToys Margh. This is pretty good. There's some things that hold it back for me, but I'm going to give it a 4 to 5. What I really think is cool is the first time we've gotten an armor-based Masterpiece Scale Ultra Magnus, and it's really cool that they're able to pull that off. I like the idea of getting an extra robot inside, right? So if you want to display him in another mode, it's basically a triple changer, which is kind of cool. The downside, though, is that core robot has some issues, specifically with standing. The ankles have a little bit of an issue, and I showed that during the robot mode. It looks gorgeous. All the weapons work, all the accessories work, but it just has a little bit of trouble standing. As far as the vehicle mode is fine. It has a little trouble turning, so that's a little bit disappointing. That's why this didn't get a 5 out of 5. I think it's a good figure, especially in the combined mode, the Ultra Magnus mode. But in the core robot mode, it's got some weaknesses. And in the vehicle mode, although it looks good, it's also got some weaknesses. So for me, this is a very good version of Ultra Magnus. I'm definitely planning to display this in this mode. But we do have a comparison coming up with the X-Transbots who took a different approach on their Ultra Magnus. So stay tuned for that comparison. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.